Roberto De Zerbi has taken the Premier League by storm. His Brighton team are playing some of the most interesting football in the league, and that's what we're going to put our focus on within today's video. We're going to take a look at De Zerbi's manager profile, so we're going to think about some of the common approaches that De Zerbi's used during his career. As always, I will leave timestamps and chapters below. I'm Coach Reese. Let's get into the video. De Zerbi has generally favoured the 4-2-3-1 formation. There have been moments in which De Zerbi has used different formations, but the important thing with De Zerbi and with any manager in that regard is that the principles of how they approach the game don't change, and that's regardless of the system that they're using. So we're now going to take a look at some of the key principles during build-up that De Zerbi likes to utilise. During build-up, De Zerbi's team will generally use a 4-2 shape, and they will be looking to play short passes between the goalkeeper, defensive unit and the double pivot, who will both drop slightly deeper. An important element of this is the fullbacks don't move quite as high as we would potentially expect. This maintains the shorter distance between players within the defensive unit. A key component of De Zerbi's build-up is their speed of play. They will generally slow the game down. A really good example of this is the centre-back or goalkeeper putting their foot on the ball. And this is to invite the opposition to move forward and press. As the opposition move forward, this then creates the opportunities to play forward and through the opposition. The role of the double pivot during build-up is to remain close to each other and be on the opposition's initial pressing line. So when the team are ready, they can quickly access the double pivot and begin progressing the ball forward. So this approach is almost like using pressing triggers to your advantage. So the pass selection or speed of play are things that pressing players will look for in order to start their engagement. So by intentionally creating those triggers, you can then use it as an opportunity to play through. So once you've drawn that pressure towards the ball, other players will be free. As with playing out from the back and any approach in your own defensive third, there is risk involved. So players need to be aware of this and constantly alert to what's going on around them. So if the opportunity for them to receive the ball is available, they can quickly move the ball forward and find that free man. Any team who are looking to control the game and progress the ball forward, maximising the third man is incredibly important. And this is no different when it comes to De Zerbi. It's important to remember that when releasing the third man, in order to progress up the pitch, it's vital that they are facing forward. Once the team have drawn pressure from the opposition, this is now the trigger to attempt to progress the ball forward and try and release the third man. And this generally will happen through the double pivot. One example will see the centre-back draw pressure and play into the double pivot, who will simply play a wall pass with the now free centre-back, who can move the team forward. Another example will see the centre-back draw pressure and play into the double pivot, who will then play into the free fullback, who can move forward with the ball. As we've just discussed, when releasing the third man, it's incredibly important that they are facing forward. This allows the ball then, as they receive the ball, to move up the pitch and beyond opposition pressing players. Because once we've moved the ball beyond, for example, the opposition's attacking unit, we can then consider them removed from the defensive organisation. As De Zerbi's teams progress the ball forward, they will move into a 2-3-5 or a 2-4-4. The role of the fullbacks will impact which shape is used. The 2-3-5 looks very similar to other teams who utilise the shape. The 2-4-4 will see the fullbacks remain slightly deeper and in line with the double pivot, with the wingers remaining wide in order to stretch the opposition, creating that space centrally. The striker and attacking midfielder will stay close to each other, providing the opportunity to combine. Again, thinking about the third man, if the ball is played into the striker, they can set it back to the attacking midfielder, who can play forward, ideally releasing a player beyond the opposition's defensive unit. Within De Zerbi's team, there's a lot of focus around key partnerships. So for example, the relationship between the fullback and the winger, the relationship between the striker and the attacking midfielder, the relationship between the double pivot. So how these partnerships work together and then collectively as a wider team are really important when De Zerbi's team are trying to break down an organised defensive structure. With an organised press, the role of the attacking midfielder is to block the passing line into the opposition's pivot, and the striker will cut the pitch in half, removing the opposition's ability to switch the ball. The slight difference between De Zerbi's press and what we would generally expect to see in a 4-2-3-1 press is the wingers will move narrow, pressing out to in, blocking the passing lanes into the opposition fullbacks. This then encourages the opposition to play centrally, where the midfielders can engage aggressively. In order to support the press, the fullbacks will move onto the opposition wingers, removing the pass forward. Also, the centre-backs will follow the striker if they drop into support. This may see one of the double pivot just drop to fill that space and provide that additional cover. De Zerbi encourages his team to be incredibly aggressive, whether that's during a press or during a counter press. And because of this, his teams do concede a lot of chances, especially with the fullbacks being involved in the press so aggressively. Because they move on to the opposition wingers, this does free up a lot of space in behind, so should the opposition be able to access these areas, they can gain a lot of success. So that's a quick look at De Zerbi's manager profile and some of the key tactical concepts that he uses. As always, I do hope you found the video useful. If you did, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. I've been Coach Reese. Have a great day.